Okay. So welcome everyone. I thought it'd be nice for us to start off by saying hello to each other, kind of hearing our voices, everyone else's voices. And if you want to use a different language other than English, feel free. So you can unmute yourself and we can say hello.
Hola.
Salam.
Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Hello, I'm Jeff.
Hi everyone, this is Bhavishya.
Nice. Well, welcome. So yes, I'll just kind of go over the flow of the meeting or event. So we'll like start off with the panelists. We have 8 panelists. Then we'll have like a 5 to 10 minute break, and then we will have like discussion and Q&A. Each panelist has about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll just share the order that we'll go in. So just put that in the chat. And I thought like in between panelists, we can have like a minute of kind of reflection on what was shared. And during that time, you can post in the chat any appreciation for the speaker and any thoughts you have. And then we'll move on to the next panelist and so forth. Yeah, so before we begin, do we have any questions about that order or anything else? So if not, okay. So if not, then let's get started. So we'll start with.
I think Abby Kate might have a question.
Yeah. I saw her raise her hand. Yeah, do you have a question? Okay. Just alrighty.
I was fixing my microphone actually.
Sounds good. Okay, cool. So then let's get started. We'll start out with Ankit from India.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ankit Singh and I'm from India. First of all, I would like to thank you all for having me here. I appreciate the invitation I got from Dhruv sir, and it's really wonderful to see everyone here. So I'm going to start with describing a little bit about India. As India is a diverse and a developing country, and due to its developing in nature, it has its own major problems to consider. So as a result, the problems like stabbing does not get that much attention. Also, the society in India is basically a more sort of ignorant when it comes to disability and also stammering. As I was born in Bihar, which is a state in India, but brought up in New Delhi. Initial year of my life is tough for me and my family because in Bihar there is hardly any awareness about this issue. This may be because of the fact that the illiteracy rate in the Bihar is below average. But at the age of 6 to 7, me and my family shifted to New Delhi, and since then we live here. Also, I have completed my education from Delhi itself. During my school days, just like the other PWS, I was also being mocked and bullied by the peers, but fortunately, I got some good teachers and friends who were supportive enough. By seeing these two kind of extreme peoples with their certain sort of uh, behavior, I often feel that the teachers and friends are more sympathetic toward me and my issue. Uh, because of this thought in mind, I was often uh, um, I have a very poor self-esteem when I was in my school days. Um, I even thought that the grades which I earn from my hard work is the result of the sympathy teachers are showing on me. Um, my my family tried to find the good support system but failed to do so because in India there is hardly any good and well-known speech therapist who can help the PWS in an effective ways. Due to this, many so-called ex-tamburers start to advertise their own magical cures. Many PWS fall in this trap and ends up losing their self-belief, faith, motivation, and also money. So I was fortunate enough that when I was in the final year of my graduation, I came to know about TISA, the Indian Stammering Association. It operates just like the Friends. It is a self-help group which is run and moderated by um, the PWS. It provides the supportive environment and also the friendly and environment for the PWS to practice the speaking techniques uh, and use it in the real world. Now, if I talk about what I want to see happening in India, is as I have read somewhere that the two genes which is responsible for stammering has been found by the scientists. So just like the government of US and UK, uh, India's government should also consider this stammering as a disability and must consider to include it into the Disability Act. This will result in spreading the positive awareness among people, and it will also prevent the trauma stammers face through their day-to-day life. And the most important thing I want to see happening in India is the PWS should also take a stand and came to the limelight by their good works and achievement without any fear. Uh, Recently, we have seen the example of Joe Biden, the president of America. He set a great example, and he is the idol of Indians also. So following this, I was also planning to appear for the civil service examination of India uh, and aspire to be a bureaucrat of India. I'm planning this because first thing is that I want to prove myself that stammering is not the thing um, which is stopping me to achieve something in my life. And the second thing is that uh, I want to set an example for the young PWS that despite of their uh, stammering, they can achieve great success in life. So thank you so much. That was all.
Thanks so much, Ankit. So we can have like 1 minute of reflection. And during that time, you can post in the chat anything you like, appreciation or anything else.
It's Sarim, and I'm from Pakistan, and I have been in the USA for the past 30 years also. And like when I came here, before I came here, I had the same experience, because Pakistan is also a developing country also, and the state of affairs that he described is at that time was the same in Pakistan. So I came here 30 years ago, and I am a physician. So I actually went through my residency. So I just want to tell him that I don't think this is a disability. This is actually a challenge.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks, sorry, so much. Yeah, and actually, like we can have kind of like we'll have like a time as well after all the panelists go to kind of have Q&A and discussion.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Through like, I mean, can I also say something? I have to say it. After I came here, I actually was in Ozair, the town that you are in, when I was doing my residency. So it was the first like town I lived in. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
It's a global village.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to our next speaker. Bianca from Brazil.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Bianca. I am 16 years old, and I live in São Paulo in Brazil. Well, I have studied for as long as I can remember, and over the years, my perception of what it is to studying in Brazil has changed a lot. So when I was younger, I kept myself from doing a lot of things that I like because I studied, and in my mind I couldn't keep doing those things because the way I did it wasn't normal. I am a bit of a perfectionist, so not being able to do things perfectly and to speak perfectly fluent really bothered me. And I believe that a game changer for me was when I was in middle school, and me and my sister made a presentation for teachers at a couple schools, and to talk about what they could do to help us as people who stutter, and that really opened my eyes to see that I can actually start making a change. So fast forward to 2019, I was in 9th grade, and I attended the NSA conference in Fort Lauderdale, and that experience completely changed me. And although I have a supportive family and some supportive environments, the way I looked at my stutter was very limited. I thought I had to fix it. But in the NSA, I was able to see older people my age, and people really younger accept their stutter, and that really inspired me. And we all agree that it wasn't easy, but people actually saw themselves as more because they stuttered. So after this experience, I believe that I was way more open about my stutter, and I actually started to engage in activities that helped people with the same challenge. And I know that my stuttering journey is not complete. When I was at the NSA, someone said, everyone has to slay a lion a day, but people who stutter have to slay too. And that is really true. Just last week, I was in a car trip listening to the radio with my mom, and there was a radio program that had a man who started talking and people mocking him. And that was a great reminder for me that I do have a huge challenge that I have to face each day. And in my daily life, I'm not made fun of. If I say something in the classroom, people treat me normally, at least in front of me. But I still know that most people don't understand what stuttering is. And they have learned to accept it, but at the same time, no one ever talks about it. And that is something that really bothers me. I feel like every day I act like my stuttering doesn't bother me, and that I am okay with it, when it really does bother me, and a lot. And I was to do anything not to stutter, but I think I would do everything and more for people to start to talking about stuttering more. And I feel like most people are afraid to ask because they don't really know where to start. But I think they should start asking more, because when you understand something, you are able to truly respected. Overall, in Brazil, we still have a long way to to go. And as people grow, they start to accept your stutter, but they don't try to understand it. And there are still people who make fun of it as if it was okay. But I think knowing that there are communities like this one that do encourage people talking and discovering more about what stuttering is really motivates me. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bianca.
Great job.
So we can have like a 1 minute silent reflection where you can post in the chat any appreciation or thoughts. So next we have Brenna from New Zealand. And since it's about like 4:30 a.m. in New Zealand, she sent a recording. So I'm gonna share my screen and play her recording.
Hi, I'm the Brenna, and I live in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm a teenager who stutters. I'd say that probably since the population is quite a fair bit smaller than quite a few of the countries in the world, there's not as many of us here who like stutter, so it's probably not as commonly known. So I don't tend to have people like be like, oh, why did you just go like or like or I'm like block unless I've like blocked for a fair bit of time. I'd say that the lack of awareness would probably have its fair share of pros and cons, because like there's the fact that like per people don't like fuss about it too much, and then there's also the like they have like no clue why I'm like saying sounds again and repeating myself. I don't normally try and like tell people about stuttering unless like they ask me why I've like blocked. So I don't really tend to get to like speak about it much, so I don't normally do much educating. I've found that in my school personally, quite a few of my teachers are like understanding and will cater to help with like my comfort, which is really good of them. There's been sometimes like a small bit of like understandings, but it's generally been quite good throughout my entire school experience. With friends and family, as soon as I like explain what stuttering is to them, it's like been a fair bit more simple and I'm like I only need to explain once, which is good for me because I don't really feel the need to, and so it's good that they like know and understand quite simply. The earliest thought of like explaining to a friend about stuttering was around when I was maybe like 7 or 6, or around that time, and that was probably when they were probably like learning about my stutter with me. Say that the hardest thing about stuttering would be not being able to like get across what I'm like wanting to say. The thing that is especially more difficult with the people that I'm like close to, because like I should be more comfortable with them, so like it doesn't make sense as to why I would stutter more. I'd say that some of the positives of stuttering would probably be that I've been able to like gain a sense of empathy, because I tend to like actually listen more rather than like trying to speak over someone. I'd say that advice that I'd have for like young people who stutter and their families would probably be to like the like main thing would be to like to have patience, and like especially with yourself, because like it can be hard to deal with, and yeah, that's like tough, so I'd probably say that that's the main thing to like do.
Okay, so thanks so much, Brenna. She will hopefully be seeing this recording, so we can also have 1 minute of silent reflection where you can post in the chat, and we'll make sure she sees the chat. So next we have Ennio, representing the US and Italy.
uh, 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 hi everyone. The 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 thank you guys for coming. My name is Ennio. I'm to 26 years old. For from New York. I was born in Italy, and I moved to the United States with my family when I was 2 years old. I started going back every summer. My freshman year of high school. Well, where I would you uh, you usually spend the the whole to 2 months of summer. It uh uh it definitely did just feel like to different worlds. Like, and I've had very to different to different experiences, but being a person who stutters, living in both places. Before I started going back, I had some background in the Italian language, but by speaking it with my parents at home. But I didn't feel like I was 100% fluent yet. Once I started going back every summer to get to know my extended family, I was still a covert stutterer. But 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 because at that point in my life, hiding hiding or avoiding my stutter what was kind of second nature to me. And so speaking another language almost made it easier for me to hide my stutter, like whether it be like taking long pauses like to my advantage, or just simply like not put put pretending I didn't know the Italian translation to what I wanted to say. Then I went away to college, and I felt like I really started to started breaking out of my shell for the first time, like, and really becoming unapologetic about it. And after a while, like, I kind of even forgot how to properly like hide my stutter. So going back every summer, made it a little bit harder to like hide or avoid my stutter in conversation with my with my family and friends. I think what made me not progress as much in Italy as I did in America was like the general attitude I felt Italy had about people with differences. Obviously, you're going to you're going to run into that sort of thing anywhere, and I can't speak for every person living in Italy, like, but coming from a small town in southern Italy, the idea of having a stutter and it being deemed what it is, like, which is like a neurological motor disorder, like, wasn't really something that I could like that could be understood like easily. I feel like generally small towns usually come with like old school mindsets, like, which brought up a lot of common misconceptions about stuttering, like whether it be like it occurring but because of nervousness, or like, or just like having to do with like a lack of like, intelligence. I picked up on that for from my cousin who also is like a person who stutters. I remember asking him if he ever went to speech therapy or a support group, like, and I found out like that it was because his family and his school thought that it was necessary. His stutter is usually not really talked about. Like it's met with like ignorant suggestions, like that might the that he might just be nervous or the thinking too fast, like, which at first like made me not really want to talk about it either, like, or could continue to hide it. The last couple of years, like I've been trying to initiate more of a conversation about it with my extended family, like, which has been very helpful for me feeling more comfortable. So speaking about it, but also just stuttering openly. I've also asked like my immediate family family, like, if they could help me out and just like start to talking about it like in a more casual way to everyone. The this is kind of why I think it's important to advocate for stuttering. But no matter where you are in the world, every individual person who stutters his story and like the information that they can spread about it can be very helpful, like in just educating people about it. I kind of I could kind of think it the thing it's part of our job, like as people who stutter, to just keep talk to talking about it and just like normalizing, like having like a conversation about stuttering.
Thanks so much, Ennio. So we can have like a 1 minute silent reflection. Feel free to post in the chat. So next we have Jack from the UK.
Hi, so my name is Jack and I'm 21 years old and I'm from England. So just a bit about me. So basically I graduated with my BA in journalism last year. I had to finish off my degree at home because it was during the pandemic. So that was interesting. I'm currently studying for my MA in TV production. Also, sorry, it's quite dark. For some reason, it's gone quite dark outside, although it's only 4 p.m. But yeah, sorry if I'm a bit dark. So I mainly work within the media. So I work in children's TV, and I've been doing that for 2 years for the BBC. So you might be wondering about my speech. So when I was really younger, about 14, 15, and younger than that, my stammer was really, really bad. And over the course, it's just gradually got better. I'll speak about that as I go through my speech. But in high pressure situations, like on the phone, or if I'm about to do a speech, sometimes my speech can go all over the place, and that's when my stammer can come out a lot worse. I mainly have a covert stammer, so I sometimes change words around to fit the situation. So yeah, that's background on my speech. So basically in January 2020, I launched my own stammer awareness campaign here in the UK because I felt like there wasn't enough awareness, in particular in schools and in the media. So that was the emphasis and the reason why I launched the campaign. I'll speak more about the campaign later on. So what's it like to grow up in the UK with a stammer? So to be honest with you, it has been difficult, in particular from where I'm from. So I'm from a small town called Kirkham. I bet all of you are like, where's that? So basically it's near Manchester. I work in Manchester. That's why I've called myself Jack Manchester, because I'm pretty sure none of you will know the nearest city to me. So yeah, so where I'm from, we don't really speak about having a stammer, and we don't really speak about, any major issues. So I am going to put it down to that we just don't talk about it. And I think that's one of the big problems about having a stammer. We don't talk about it. Like if we just spoke about it, it would normalize it completely. And I think this is something that needs to change, even more so in the UK. So I struggled with my stammer, in particular in primary school and high school, because hardly any of my teachers really bothered with me. They would ignore me to read out in class, because I remember one time I was chosen to read out. It took about 30 minutes to read a chapter, and for everyone else it took them about 10 minutes. So I think they learned not to pick me, which obviously is not the right thing to do, and it knocked my confidence completely. However, in year 5, my teacher had a stammer herself, so she was able to help me with my speech, completely change the way I looked at my speech, and it just really, really helped. However, there was a teacher in preschool who told my mum that I wouldn't succeed because of my speech. She said that my speech is going to be a problem for when I go for job interviews, and I just wouldn't succeed, and that I should just not try, which, isn't great. So a lot of the problems was with other students. So I'm not sure if anyone else has dealt with other students in their class who doesn't know what a stammer is. I mean, I didn't know what a stammer was until I was 14. Also, we call it in the UK a stammer, not a stutter. I mean, it depends on the person, but I always refer it to a stammer. So that's why I'm calling it a stammer the whole way through this. So yes, so students in the class didn't know what one was. So that really, was hard. So I think it was the lack of education. I mean, if they had more education about what a stammer was, maybe they would have, not have picked on me. But, at the age of 17, I gained speech and language therapy, which had been brought up already. And I received this through the NHS, so I got it for free, which I'm so grateful for. So I had it for a year, so from the age of 16, 17 to the age of 18, which was really, really important for me because I was studying for my A-levels at that time, which is the exams before you go to university in the UK. So my mind was, stressed with exam pressure. So yeah, so basically as well, not everyone is guaranteed speech and language therapy. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the situation. Sometimes people have to pay for speech and language therapy, which I think is wrong. You shouldn't have to pay for that because, you can't help if you have a stammer. I just wanted to just quickly go over what they can sometimes do in speech and language therapy in case you are interested. So it's tailored around the individual. So for me, I was into my performing arts. That's a key thing as well. People that stammer, sometimes they want to find an outlet for their brain to focus on. So a lot of singers like Ed Sheeran stammers, but when he sings, he doesn't stammer. So this is a key thing. So I wanted to be a perfectionist because I was casted in Beauty and the Beast as Lumiere, the candle. If you've watched it, it's a great film. So this was the big school production. So my therapist went through the script with me, my lines, and made me get off script because I had to have a French accent as well on top of the pressure of learning the lines without stuttering on stage. I had to make sure I knew what I was saying before I could do the French accent. I always struggled to say my last name. So when I had the substitute teacher and they would ask for my last name, it would always be, oh, what's your name? And I'd be like, Jack Dinsley. I still struggle to say my last name. So I always used to say my middle name. So it'd be Jack Lee because I have no problems with saying L's, but saying D's was very difficult. I used to have a friend called Billy. So saying Billy when I was younger was really difficult. So she always went through these names and we did games to get me in the routine of saying these words, which was really beneficial. At the end of the day, the speech therapist works with the person. So your experience of speech and language therapy will be completely different to mine. And I think that's what's so great about it. And yes, and I just think it was really good having someone there for me during my difficult time with my speech. Just an interesting fact, when I was 5 years old, I was rejected speech and language therapy because they didn't want to affect my language building at that point because I was the youngest in my class. I'm born in August. So obviously my speech is going to be behind the eldest in September because obviously we're all developing at different stages. So yeah, they rejected me at the age of 5 and obviously took to the age of 17 to get speech and language therapy. In the UK, there are some fantastic charities that are doing great work here. So Stammer, which is under the British Stammering Association, the Michael Palin Centre for Stammering Children, the Action for Stammering Children. So they are all great charities, and these are charities that are building on the awareness in the media, the awareness in education, that are really doing a lot of wonders for people like me. And my own campaign, which is called the Be Kind Stammer campaign, which is on Instagram and everything like that. So we can go and have a look at it. We are just getting the dialogue on Instagram and Twitter, and we're just talking about having a stammer and making it a normal thing because having a stammer shouldn't hold you back and it should never stop you in your career. You go for job interviews, it should never stop you. So the response in the past year, working with colleges, universities on Zoom has been absolutely fantastic. Getting the insight from different colleges around the UK has been absolutely brilliant. And what do I find most helpful about when it comes to my stammer? It's having a supportive network of friends and family. I've got a great family, I've got a great set of friends, and they've never judged me. They've never once laughed at my stammer or anything like that. And I'm really grateful for that. So if you can find a group of people that you can trust, your family or friends, it's just a great thing to have. And also as well, I don't like it when people finish sentences. I don't like it because you might think of a word to finish my sentence and it could just be the one word, and I do not like it when people do that because just sit back, I will get to the end of my sentence. It might take you a little bit longer, even if it's 30 minutes, I will get there. But I just feel like people just need to be kind, especially during a pandemic. What I find most helpful, obviously we've been introduced to the lovely face masks, which obviously, have made people with a stammer, it's been hard when we go to the shop or when we go to a coffee shop. Last summer when these were first introduced, I went to my local coffee shop, ordered a Diet Coke, and I stuttered on the word diet at the time, and they gave me a bottle of still water, and I just accepted it because I had a bad stammer day and I was like, I can't be bothered saying can you switch it because I was embarrassed that day. But you shouldn't be embarrassed about your stammer. We will all have bad stammer days, we'll all have amazing speech days, and we just have to embrace what comes. And just to finish off, what does the country need to do to help with stammer awareness? In schools, in the school curriculum, we need to have a lesson about speech impediments. We need to talk about it. We have a class called PSHE, in the UK, where we talk about health, where we talk about life. Why can't we have an hour's session when we talk about having a stammer or speech impediment? Because a class like that would have been my savior, because people would have understood what a stammer was, and you learn so much. So why can't we learn about having a stammer in the school? And I just think there needs to be more facilities and services for adults, because I feel like right now there's so many different charities and facilities in the UK aimed at helping children who have a stammer. But once you get past the age of 18 or even 16, you kind of get lost sometimes. And I just feel like there needs to be more work done for adults all around the world, not just in the UK. There just needs to be more. And the work that's happening right now is fantastic, but we just need to keep increasing the bar. So yeah, so that's me. That's my perspective of the UK. It's getting better. It's getting, you know, a lot better, but you know, yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm just gonna read the comments. But yes, Lee, Abby, yes, hold on, yeah, yes, I would, yes, I would. But yeah, thank you, yes, thank you.
Thanks so much, Jack. So we can have some silent reflection, and feel free to post in the chat. So let's move on to our next speaker, Jia from China.
Yep, it's Jaster. I'm wondering who made that order and put me behind Jack. Now, you know, I have so much performance anxiety, you know, to compete this BBC journalist. So, okay. My name is Jia. You can probably tell from my face. I'm from Asia. To be specific, I am Chinese. When Karen came to me, said, Jia, can you find us some Chinese teenagers who stutter? And I was trying for a few weeks and ended up, I did find like 2, but they don't speak Chinese. They don't speak English. So it ended up like I represent the Chinese teenagers here. So I do have a very young heart. So bear with me, and I do wear braces. So that makes me part of this young group here. So I want to talk about like my experience growing up in China, being a person who stutters, in the stuttering support and the stuttering situation back home. So I spent most of my years in China, and I came to the US a few years ago. So I would say growing up in China, being a person who stutters, it was extremely difficult. So I was born in a small town, and I'm the only person who stutters in my entire family. Nobody knows what's going on. We don't have internet. We only have like 3 TV channels back then. So nobody knows what's going on. And I didn't know like why I can't talk like anybody else. I speak my hometown dialect, and I speak Mandarin, and now I speak English, and I stutter in all 3 of them. But my dialect, I think, was the most difficult one, because I was constantly reminded that that's not the right way to talk. So I was really like, my parents they were really very tough on my stuttering and thinking being hard to my stuttering, that would make that go away because I was doing something wrong. And thanks to their severe punishment for my stuttering, I learned all the tricks to hide my stuttering. And I kind of like navigate my way through. And in school, in China, I would say because our teachers are not like here in America or in the Western countries, you barely don't ask much questions. So I kind of survived my 12 years of basic education in China and then actually went to college without doing any presentations. So I was able to hide my stuttering because nobody asked me to talk in public most of the time. And after I was actually the first person in my entire family who went to college. So I still very like confused, you know, I'm not stupid, I'm not dumb, like, but why I cannot talk like a 3-year-old? And I wasn't able to figure out because there's not the places where I was born. There's no speech therapy. There's nothing there. So, and you didn't even see like a celebrity or like a famous person who stutter publicly in China. So like I live in this isolation thinking I am the weird one. Like, why me? Like, why I cannot be just like 99% of the population, especially in a collective culture, like being different is like a crime. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to be different. So I kind of like navigated my way through life by being a covert stutterer. But oh my God, I cannot even describe how that experience was. It's almost like I was playing a role, a fake role, which was accepted by the mainstream culture or by my culture. And it was very difficult because deep in my heart, I feel like I was fake. I feel that I live in a lie. So that part in me really, it's killing me. So, and then I try to like find a way out. And I do think like, because I feel like I was so confined in my mouth, in my language, especially when I was talking in Chinese, I have so many covert ways of hiding my stuttering. And I do think me learning English itself, it's almost a coping strategy. Like I want to connect to people. I want to communicate with the world around me, but the way I was talking was not right. So fortunately, I would say I'm those few lucky people who stutter in China, kind of like did this prison break and I get outside of that more confined environment and I got connected to the bigger world. And I do feel that that part personally, it helped me a lot because I get to see more people who stutter. I get to get exposed to the message that it's not your fault to stutter. So, and to me, that's the part I found most useful, to find your people, even though the people who look different than you, the people who speak different language than you, but you know what's right. You know what's that part that makes you human, that part, maybe the stutter, we call it a flaw, we call it a disability, but that piece for me, it's actually, now I look back, that part actually makes me so real. That part makes me be able to connect it to people like today here, all the people of different ages, of different cultures, because I speak this real experience. I get connected to you. So I think that's very powerful to me. So what do I want to see? The last part, I want to talk about what I would love to see in China to to improve the situations for the people who stutter. And by the way, I do think like in China, we have about 14 million people who stutter. We may have 1,000 SLP, and in those 1,000 SLP, maybe have 100 of them are helping the people who stutter. Maybe basically just like, like 20 million people to share one SLP, that type of, help. And I used to think if my culture or if my society, if they accept my stuttering, if my parents, my friends, if they accept my stuttering, I will be able to accept my stuttering. But I've been waited for way too long for that to happen. And right now I am actually doing something to change that, because I feel that I got to see the world. I got to learn more than the people who stutter back home. And actually right now I am doing something, for example, something very small. I did do some Chinese bilingual podcast, mainly in Mandarin Chinese. I stutter a lot in that podcast, not on purpose, but I want them to hear what a real person who stutter sounds like, because I wasn't able to see one single Chinese person who stutter in my face and just be okay with it. So I start to interview the Chinese people in China or outside of China who stutters, who are from different professions. And I want to, the people who stutter in China who are not able to understand English or they cannot read the resources outside, to hear the Chinese people who stutter, they can still be someone who they wanted to be. So that's something I am doing. And also I'm doing some, like, thanks to COVID, not thanks to COVID, but thanks to the Zoom. Now it's so well used, and now I actually host some like online Chinese support groups for the people like who stutter in China, or the people who stutter, the Chinese people who stutter. They can have a place to talk about stutter. Trust me, there are people stutter in China, even though we're very underrepresented. I just checked, I'm the only one Chinese here, and that happens to most of the support groups or the conferences I have been. Doesn't mean the Chinese people's genes are better. They're just not brave enough, because that stuttering was so stigmatized back home. So I just feel that, I almost waited my entire life to be loved, to be accepted, to wait for that change. But now I do think like we are the change, we are the help we're waiting for. So I'm very glad today I get this opportunity. Thanks to Karen for asking me, says, if you cannot find the Chinese teenager, you are the Chinese teenager. So I'm so glad I'm here. So I'm willing to answer any questions if you are curious about Chinese people who stutter or the Chinese stuttering culture. You can find me on Facebook under my real name, that's Jia Bing, and I'm so glad I'm here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, yeah. So we can have like one minute silent reflection. Feel free to post in the chat.
And thank you so much for all the positive comments there. I'm very grateful. And I have a friend here, Yudar, who is a Turkish teenager, lives in Canada. So he will represent China along with me. Thank you so much, Yudar. Thank you.
So without further ado, next we have Madoche from South Africa.
Hello everyone, my name is Madoche and I'm from South Africa. I'm 16 years old and I school in Loniel International Academy. Yeah, so I started to stutter, I think like when I was like 6 years old. And I actually have an uncle who stutters and my grandma stutters, and their one was severe. And they were living in Cameroon, but because it's not as developed as other countries, they did not receive any help. So they just had to grow up with it. And yeah, so I was born in South Africa, but my parents are from Cameroon, and I take myself as a Cameroonian. And me seeing my grandma stutter and my uncle stutter, it was really something that stayed with me, because I was also one who stuttered. And in Cameroon, they speak French, and my first language is English. So I used to also like try and hide my stuttering with French, letting them think that I don't understand or something like that. Yeah, and I enjoy football. My goal is to become a soccer player. Hopefully, by God's grace, that will happen. Back to the stuttering. I started to stutter around about when I was 6 years old, and for resources in South Africa, because South Africa has evolved from apartheid, and now it's a very developed country. I'll say maybe not as developed as the USA, but it's up there. And there was help. There were a lot of speech therapists, but because my parents were uneducated, and just thought that I would grow up with it and it would go the same way it happened to my uncle and my grandmother. They left it and I didn't receive any help. But it was really, really tough, because I was a soccer player and I was actually the captain of my soccer team. So like there were times where you'll be having like a team talk, and you will need to say something to the teammates, but because you stutter, you used to be quiet, and that was moments that made me cry sometimes, and I just never felt motivated, and there was a lot of anger and sadness coming out from my heart. So yeah, and last year in June, I met a speech therapist called Dina, and she helped me a lot, from the techniques we learned from the techniques to the conversations we had. I've really evolved, and at first I couldn't like say a word. I used to squeeze my hands. I used to move my face, like twitch my face almost. And yeah, many people knew me for stutterer. Yeah. So in South Africa, I haven't met stutter. So it was really tough to find someone who stutters. So I felt like I was kind of alone, because in my school, and yeah, it was overall just really tough for me, in terms of my motivation to speak, speaking activities, class activities. Yeah, so so one thing I would like to see change in the country is like is high profile celebrities, high profile celebrities in South Africa talk about stuttering, because stuttering is one of the only disabilities that people still laugh about. which I think is completely wrong. So just like high celebrities in South Africa talk about stuttering and make it known and just make it normal. You know, I really think that celebrities are a big influence in like the way young people in school act and young people in school see things. So if they see a famous person in South Africa saying that you should not laugh about statuing or something like that, then it will change the mind of the youth. Yeah, and yeah. So I think that's basically it. I'm not a person to talk for long. Yeah, so my family adapted to my statuing after I met the speech therapist. And I started to take opportunities to talk in class activities in front of people at church, like for the testimonies. And my overall scene of statuing really changed, because at first when I started, a lot of sadness and anger was like in my heart. But right now I get more motivated to improve, you know. And I think that's what everyone should be feeling in their hearts, to improve and become more motivated to improve, so that like, and I really feel that really helps. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madoche. Madoche, right? Yeah, so let's have like a 1 minute break. I mean, 1 minute a reflection, and feel free to post in the chat. So last but not least, Ozair from the UK.
Hi everyone. I just first wanted to say thank you so much for to Drew for inviting me here today. It's been so great to hear all of your stories, and just everyone has been so inspiring. I don't really know how I'm going to end it off, but I'm going to try. So my name is Ozair. I live in London. I'm from the UK. I'm actually originally from Pakistan, and I was born in Qatar, and then I moved to the UK when I was 4. So my family's from Pakistan, but I was born in Qatar, so I sort of have experiences in 3 different countries, which I think I'll touch on later in my speech. So I have sort of more of a covert stammer. It really only comes up every now and then, and my stammer sort of goes in fluctuations. So sometimes sometimes for months, my stammer will be completely fine, and for weeks I'll be speaking sort of relatively fluently, and then like my stammer will come out of nowhere and just like hit me, and I won't know what to do. And that happened to me because basically I went to speech therapy when I was really young, and that really helped to build my confidence and build my fluency. And then every now and then my stammer will sort of come back, and I'll sort of have to sort of deal with it. And an example of that was about a year ago when there was sort of a lot of stress at school. I'm 16, by the way, sorry for not saying that before. I'm 16, I'm in high school, I'm in year 11, which means I have 2 years left after school after this year. And there was sort of a lot of stress building up at school, and I was doing a lot of things, and my stammer was sort of coming back, and it was sort of getting worse, and I wasn't sure why. And instead of dealing with it, instead of sort of using the techniques that my speech therapist had already taught me, I was pretending that it didn't exist. I mean, I really, because I was actually involved in a drama production at the time, and usually drama is a place where I don't stammer at all. I mean, when I sort of get onto stage, I can sort of do it, and that's sort of a place where I had never stuttered before. And then all of a sudden I was stuttering on stage in the middle of my play, and I was actually the lead character as well. So I was sort of freaking out over, well, how on earth am I going to perform, and how am I going to do this? And it was all of it was sort of building up. And what happened is that I had to actually end up going back to speech therapy, and that sort of took a huge amount of strength and courage from me to sort of say to my parents that can I please go back and see my speech therapist, because I'm sort of struggling with this again. And I think that's what I find most difficult about my stammer, is its sort of unpredictability, and how sometimes out of nowhere, I mean, usually it's triggered by a certain event, but sometimes out of nowhere it can sort of just come and hit me, and the people around me don't really know, get really surprised by that as well, because most of the time I'm not stammering. So then when I do stammer, they're just really, really confused, and they're like, well, why are you talking like this all of a sudden? And if I'm having a really bad speech day, even if someone asks, oh, why are you all of a sudden stammering? Is there like a reason? And they're genuinely, coming from a place of concern. If it's one of my friends and I'm having a really bad speech day, I find talking about my stammer really difficult. And I think because of those bad speech days, I get afraid of talking about my stammer, because if I recognize it, I have this fear that it'll get worse. But really recognizing it is the first step, sort of accepting it and sort of moving forward, and really being able to continue doing everything that you want to do while also having a stammer. And I think that speech therapy is honestly the best thing on the planet, honestly. I think going back to it really, really helped me. So in terms of what it's like to stammer in the UK, Jack actually covered a lot of my points already. But yeah, we have quite a lot of charities here. The Michael Palin Center, amazing center. That's where I actually got my speech therapy when I was really young. And also I volunteer at the Action for Stammering Children charity, where we work to raise awareness, and we hold events for youth, for stammering youth. And we also interview and we sponsor PhD students who are working in stammering. And that was a big part of me accepting my stammering, because I actually interviewed a researcher who looks into the sort of neurological sort of makeup behind stammering, and he was telling me about the whole science behind stammering, and that really helped me to sort of understand it more within myself, and really realize that this is something that's not like really, it's not my fault really. I mean, it's something that's sort of that's happened, and I just need to deal with it and accept it and keep on doing what I can do. And in terms of the UK, my experiences in the UK have been largely positive. I mean, everyone sort of, I have a really good support system with my friends and my family, but actually what I wanted to sort of talk more about was going back to Pakistan. And we sort of go there to visit family and friends. And I mean, the attitude there is vastly different. I mean, the level of education in terms of stammering and what it entails and what causes it and what sort of all of that education and all that information, there's a huge difference in the level of that between the UK and Pakistan. And a lot of people actually assumed I couldn't speak Urdu, which is the national language of Pakistan. I'm fluent in Urdu. I can speak Urdu. I'm not fluent. I mean, I can speak it pretty well. I can get by. I'm not amazing, I won't say, but a lot of people sort of assumed I couldn't speak it because I was stammering a lot in Urdu. I don't tend to stammer that much in English, but I stammer a lot more in Urdu. So just sort of dealing with that attitude of people being like, oh, don't worry if you don't speak Urdu, like I can speak English. And I'm like, no, I can talk to you in Urdu. I just that I'm having a really bad speech day and saying these words are really difficult in another language. So yeah, that was sort of, that's always difficult going back to Pakistan and speaking to people there. And also when I'm here, some people make jokes and some people make comments about my stammer, but I think the best thing to do about that is if you're feeling confident enough, just shoot them straight down. Honestly, just if you can, if you're having a good day, just say it to them straight to their face, like, don't do this, this is not okay. One time, someone actually mocked my stammer. Actually, this was not too long ago. Someone mocked my stammer in the middle of physics class. And it's because they didn't realize I stammered and they just thought I was making random noises. So they were mocking me, and I, in front of my entire physics class, I basically gave him a lecture. And that sort of, I just was like, this is not okay. This is what stammering is. Do not make fun of it, etc. And I think that sort of confidence was really born from speech therapy and from understanding that people really need education about it. And that's what I'd like to see more of in the UK, because as Jack said, in schools, there's barely any education about stammering. There's education about disabilities, about, I mean, we have PHSE, as Jack said, and we talk about so many things, but we don't talk about stammering. We talk about tons of other disabilities, at least in my school we did, but stammering was just never on the curriculum, and it really, really should be, because I feel like in the UK, we are at a good point, but it's really not there yet. And to sort of make school kids understand what it's like to stammer, that would just be the best thing ever, because then they would be able to respect us and understand that, you know, this is not something that you should make fun of. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too rambly, and I hope I haven't spoken for too long. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ozair. So we can have like the 1 minute silent reflection. Feel free to post in the chat. And from the reflection, we will go straight into a short break. So maybe we can like come back at 12:40 p.m. Eastern. So at the 40, where whatever time zone you're in. So in about 4 minutes we'll come back, and then we'll wrap up at 1 p.m. Eastern. So while people are trickling in, just a big thank you again to all of our panelists. Yeah, feel free to post your question or the thought in the chat. And of course, if you stutter/stammer and you want to practice speaking in front of a large group, feel free to unmute and just share.
Well, I don't have a question, but I do have, this was one of the most inspiring things I've had the pleasure to be part of in a really long time. The speakers were all fabulous. I love the idea of kind of sharing what stuttering means in our different countries and cultures. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of something, but so I just want to say thank you to all the speakers. You were all wonderful. Oh, Drew, what a great question.
Yes, I think Sarim has his hand up.
Yes, I mean, I just wanted to share. So I found it very inspiring, and it reminded me of my younger days. So I had like, I mean, just like Gia, and there were several others who had said that you feel very alone. So when I was in Pakistan, when I was in Pakistan, so I really didn't have hope. I couldn't find help. Then I finally came here. So it was really hard to like come here to find a residency, like in medicine, and then look to finish it and to start a practice. So it was hard to do, and so but I'm here to like, I mean, tell the others also that it's possible. And I tell you what, I really, I mean, these kids here, I found them, they are very brave, and I really didn't have the courage at that time to like, I mean, what they have. I like didn't share at that time, and I had been having like problem outside the home when I was home with my family, and I didn't have any difficulty talking. So I even like found it hard to tell my family that I wanted help. So these kids are really very brave, and all of them, they have a very bright future. Okay. Okay.
Indeed, they have a bright future indeed. And I think all of us as part of the stammering community globally, I think the stuttering/stammering community, globally, and the youth are in good hands.
Yeah, and there's an other thing that is really strange, that the journey for me in America, it actually started in Ozair. It started in Ozair, that town that like you are in. So I find it amazing. So when I was doing my internship, I stayed here.
Global village.
Yeah.
So they're like, what was like a question about like how can we stay in touch afterwards? So if you'd like anybody's like email address, just let me know. I think you all kind of have my email address, and I can pass it on. And also like we have these community events once a month. So we're having one again at the end of next month. And I'm just gonna actually post in the chat. It's gonna be called Stuttering in Social Media. And it's at the end of April, just into May, on Saturday, May 1st. But we do have like about 12 minutes left here. If anybody wants to, feel free to, if anybody wants to share, feel free to unmute and share.
I did see Amit posted a question for the panelists. If you could give your younger self some advice as a person who stutters, who would it be? And since most of the panelists, they are younger self, so maybe I will start and they can follow. I would tell that little jar, the little jar who stutters, I would like to basically tell her, you know, even though you feel that the entire world around you is against you, look for a bigger world. The world around you is not the entire world, and it is not your fault to stutter. That's my advice.
Okay, all right. So like I'm also like, I mean, so like I think that I'll also try to answer it. I'm not on the panel, but like being older, so like I can tell you, because being here, I'm thinking about that time, and I find that if at that time I had started freely helped me. So what I found was that I tried to hide my stuttering, and the harder I tried, the worse it got. And I'm also a silent stutterer, so I don't, when I stutter, when there's a repetition, if it's audible, I don't really like it. So if I had like figured it out at that time, because I had a friend at that time, he also stuttered, but he would stutter freely, and he would give speeches, he would give presentation, and he would do fine. And I like the same way as you. I actually like in Pakistan, they really like don't have an interactive education at all. So really so even until I became a doctor in Pakistan, I really didn't have to give presentation to a bigger group. So I did it only after I came back. So again, what I would tell is that don't try to hide it, like to my younger self, and be willing to talk about it. After I talked about it, I feel better. Okay.
I'm also older. I'm also was on the panel, but this was such a great panel. I really enjoyed hearing all the speakers. And I was just thinking of someone when I was growing up. It was someone who was not a person who stutters, but someone who sensed what I was going through. And that person at the time helped me feel that when I got older, that it would get better. And that feeling really helped me through the years. And in fact, in the past year, I found that person on social media and was able to thank them as an adult. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yes, Shashantanu.
Yeah, and that was really a very nice convention. I mean, I really enjoyed like all of the speeches, and I just have I just have a question for all of you, uh, especially the panelists who spoke today. So my question is, have you guys? Do you guys wonder what what would be your life if you didn't stutter, or have you ever wished that you didn't have stammer or a stutter, or have felt that way why me?
If you want, I'll speak about it. That's a good question actually, because you ask yourself, don't you, like, why is it me? Why do I have a stammer? Why does like boy or girl in my class not have a stammer? They don't understand. But I think as you get older, I mean, I'm only 21, so I don't know. I don't know. But as you get older, I kind of come to terms with it, and I kind of have embraced my stammer, because it's kind of like a superpower, because basically it gives you the power to speak when you want to, and people have to listen to you. So yeah, I've just embraced it, and it's part of me, and I would never change it, really. So yeah, that's me.
Well, I would say if somebody say, here is a pill, while you take it to take away your stutter, I'll say, yeah, in a heartbeat, right? Why not? I don't think I want to have a stutter in the first place. It's almost like I am not even sure, like, becoming a human, is that my choice, or is that my parents' choice, right? So I do feel that when we feel that we don't have a choice, that's where the struggle begins. But I would say, looking back on my journey, I would say without my stutter, I wouldn't be the person who I am right now. I used to hate myself, and now I started to like myself. And I like this journey. I do feel that it's not easy, but it's worth it. So that's my response.
Thank you very much, Jack and Gia, for your responses.
To answer uh 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 Amit's que question for 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 from uh earlier. I think so, something I would to tell my y- y- younger self, like, is to be more aware, like, of anything that, like, you're doing the that might be could consider like avoidance. A lot of like what I'm dealing with now uh uh, has to do with uh unlearning a lot of uh, habits like I acquired like at a young age, like that made me like a covert stutterer for for a really long time. Like I think like if I didn't uh go uh go get those like habits, like those bad habits, like I would like be uh, like it would be a lot like easier like for me to like to uh so speak more openly ne 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 now.
Going once.
Okay. All right. I actually don't want to hog all the time, but this thing I have to share. So, like, I had started my residency, and we had outpatient clinic there at that time, and I would like stutter with my patients. I felt bad. So the director of the clinic, she isn't a doctor. She was just an administrator. So I just like talked to her. I mean, after a few weeks time. So she told me. She said, I told her. I said, what do the patients think? So they said the patients really like you. They don't care that you stutter. They said that you take good care of them, and they can tell that you are fair to them, and said they don't care. They don't care that you stutter, and that was a really very good advice. And I have followed that, and I have found actually that like it helps that people. I mean, after you begin the conversation, I mean, people really stop like the noticing the stutter.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Sarim.
You're
hi-
welcome.
hi, Kendrell. Well, welcome. It's good to see you. So we're actually like just about to end the call. It's just 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all to the panelists especially for showing up, sharing your story with so much courage. You really are being the change you want to see in the world. So again, much gratitude and appreciation. So yeah, our next community event is on the 1st of May. 12 p.m. Eastern. It's called Stuttering in Social Media. And before we go, I know it's sad to say goodbye, but we have to say goodbye eventually. Everything is temporary, right? So before we go, we can all unmute and say goodbye in a language of your choice.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Até mais.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Tchau.
Everyone, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
It's great.
Great program.
Namaste, Dhruv.
Namaste. And what's in Portuguese? Tudo bem? How are you? I know. I'm sorry.
Muito obrigada, Dhruv. It was wonderful. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.